2114 Aether Prime. The following is a fictional timeline of the future, as well as the historical background for a cipher system campaign set in the year 2114. These entries will explain how the technological dystopia in the sky known as Aether Prime came to power over a post-apocalyptic Earth. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. This work is fictional, and any names, characters, or incidents are a product of the author's imagination, the author being Slim Jones. By the year 2035, the world population reaches nearly 9 billion, and many of the Sustainable Development Goals of Agenda 2030 are achieved by the majority of United Nations members. The World Economic Forum has transitioned the global economy through the Fourth Industrial Revolution, with automation playing a dominant role in nearly every industry. In the years leading up to 2035, a massive cyber attack targeting the megabanks zeroed accounts overnight, sparking global financial crises and ushering in competing forms of centralized digital currency. Insects and synthetic meat offer affordable and sustainable food options in an effort to reach zero hunger on a global scale. Breakthroughs in Neuralink clinical trials normalize the use of cybernetic limbs and implants for amputees and the disabled, but the use of tech to enhance human capabilities otherwise is still a highly debated topic. The gaming industry is dominated by both augmented and virtual reality, both of which are highly integrated into education systems worldwide. The metaverse becomes one of the leading hubs for social networking and communication, offering viable career opportunities for the digital age. Although an uphill battle, focus on reducing pollution and waste leads to significant progress in recycling plastics and improving water filtration methods. SpaceX is on track to reach Mars by the next decade as the research and development of advanced space technology offers promising advances in energy and self-sustainability. Development and implementation of clean and renewable energy sources, such as wind, solar, hydro, and geothermal, are prioritized. The widespread use of artificial intelligence and robotics in the workplace has drastically altered the job landscape, with a considerable portion of careers now being performed remotely. Smart cities are becoming widespread, with their citizens occupying minimalist apartments within walking distance of most services. Electric cars, cycles, self-driving cars, and public transit are acceptable forms of travel, with traditional vehicles being highly restricted. Many independent states and populations resist these regulations, continuing to observe their rural traditions, as well as driving gas power vehicles amidst ever-growing pressure from governments and BlackRock asset monopolies. Despite several reforms and well-established welfare systems, crime and poverty continues to cause challenges for law enforcement, who must deal with an increasing number of violent citizens and overcrowded prisons. New forms of high-tech control utilizing drones and robots are quickly becoming widespread in law enforcement, military, medical, and security industries. Global unity is stalled by political corruption, frequent proxy wars, and the intermittent Cold World War III, as nuclear powers keep the world in a tense state of uncertainty. State-sponsored cyber war games are conducted by aspiring hackers as new military and defense technology is developed for future conflicts. In 2043, nearly 50,000 satellites litter Earth's orbit, creating an artificial ring of space debris that, while being addressed, continues to pose challenges to future missions. China's Tiangong space station rivals the International Space Station in terms of effectiveness and technology, incentivizing research and development efforts from both public and private entities in a new space race. Scientists and engineers are aided by advancements in artificial intelligence and automation to harness nanotechnology and better understand and develop quantum systems, resulting in significant breakthroughs in both fields. The advancements in 3D printing technology have made it both efficient and cost-effective, attracting widespread adoption across commercial, medical, and space industries. While neural and subdermal implants gain wider social acceptance, bioprinting takes a significant step forward as advanced technology has made it a realistic goal for researchers. The rapid progression of technology and deeper insights into physics, along with the disclosure of government research, leads to the development of electrogravity as a means of generating lift and propulsion for aerial and space vehicles. Although this generated much excitement worldwide, a sustainable power source and way to harness the electric and magnetic fields necessary would still need to be discovered before the technology could become commercially available. Advancements in electric vehicle technology have resulted in batteries with improved energy density, longer lifespan, faster charging times, and increased safety and durability. Despite the UN's mandates on battery recycling, the high demand for cobalt, lithium, and nickel has turned the countries where these resources are sourced into battlefields for national and corporate interests. The developed nations face a persistent challenge as their power grids struggle to keep up with the increasing demand generated by technological advancements, while also making the shift towards more sustainable sources of energy. With ongoing advancements in the field of nuclear fusion, the potential for a solution to the world's energy crisis is becoming more apparent. As technology improves, traditional magnetic and inertial confinement fusion methods are being replaced by the more advanced high-pressure quantum fusion systems. This shift towards high-pressure fusion offers a more efficient and effective way to tap into the power of atomic nuclei. The increasing reliance on electronics in the modern age has led to widespread use of Faraday cages, not just in military and government settings, but also in commercial and residential applications. However, as defensive measures are put in place, the development of powerful EMPs and nuclear weapons is also underway, fueling a continuous technological arms race. International efforts to reduce tensions and decrease the world's nuclear arsenal are faced with challenges, but have shown some success as attention shifts towards exploring outer space. In 2054, the successful culmination of various international missions results in a permanent human presence on Mars, making it a historic achievement for humanity and a source of hope for the future. Inspired by the recent advances in space exploration, new missions are set to explore Jupiter, Saturn, Europa, Enceladus, and Titan in search of valuable resources. China and other nations compete with private companies for dominance in space, but China is the first to assemble a solar space station producing energy equivalent to that of a nuclear reactor. Its array beams solar energy via a microwave transmitter to a terrestrial station that converts it into electrical energy that feeds it into the power grid. The first unmanned drones are used to mine asteroids for metals and water, and artificial habitats are created on the moon to aid in the extraction of rare earth minerals like cerium, yttrium, and neodymium for use in electronics, magnetics, and clean energy. Back on Earth, the process of refining helium-3 from the moon and combining it with deuterium or hydrogen yields the plasma necessary for operating nuclear fusion reactors. While nuclear fusion energy is becoming a more feasible and popular option, nuclear fission energy is still produced using thorium, as the use of uranium is banned by many nations. In countries ravaged by war and resource scarcity, the impoverished dream of living in the technologically advanced cities, while in those same cities, the less fortunate retreat into digital escapism and dream of one day leaving Earth behind. People are more or less divided into three groups: the outer, under, and over classes. The outer classes resist the transitions of society to the bitter end, living in the rural remains of the old world while struggling to stand against the policies of corporate and governmental forces. In the smart cities, blockchain technology is used to consolidate the lower and middle classes into a permanent underclass controlled by social and financial credit systems. The overclasses comprise celebrities, corporate executives, technical specialists, government officials, and wealthy elites. With the aim of gaining international support and boosting confidence in collaborative missions for the future, the UN officially announces the development of Project Aether. The project was a plan to build an international research station and resort designed to hover 33,000 feet above the North Atlantic Gyre. Using electrogravity to produce anti-gravity effects, as well as utilizing an advanced weather control system, the station would be built to withstand and even harness the harsh conditions of the upper troposphere. Modular platforms centered on anti-gravity engines and powered by rechargeable battery banks would be the structural basic for the station and would allow for future expansion if desired. Supporting more than just research facilities, the station would comprise rocket launch pads, artificial environments, casinos, and resorts, as well as residential and commercial districts. Although advertised as an affordable getaway, many are worried that Project Aether will be no different than the Moon and Mars, a distant fantasy. In 2077, the nations of Earth face the challenge of sustaining a population of 11 billion as the desire to reside off-world is intensified by the deterioration of the environment and overpopulation of megacities. Corporate land monopolies and the extortion of the dwindling outer classes allows for the construction of superhighways to connect these cities, often flanked by fields of solar panels and wind turbines in various states of repair. Vacuum trains utilizing magnetic levitation technology have also become a widespread form of public transit, decreasing travel times both within and between developed nations. After its completion, Project Aether was presented to the world as the Aether Nova International Research Station and Resort. What started out as a few connected platforms flying above the ocean had become a fully functioning city in the sky, as well as the most popular destination vacation on Earth. Although it was built as a joint effort by the members of the UN, tensions arise between leading contributors to the project, as well as the nations less involved in its use and development. Adding to this tension, there are rumors that its manipulation of weather patterns is having a significant impact on storms and ocean currents, affecting islands and coastal cities already struggling with climate change in the Atlantic. Funded by both governments and tourism, Aether Nova's scientists and engineers focus on solutions to global crises and utilizing advanced and sustainable technologies for the betterment of society. Despite its smaller size compared to the megacities of the surface, Aether Nova boasts the most advanced technology of any smart city, with systems rivaling those of the Mars colony. The original central platform supports a monumental dome housing a highly advanced AI fully integrated into every aspect of the city, as well as a master control station, a grand council chamber, and various government offices. Inside each platform are electrical lines, sewers, maintenance shafts, and tunnels for public transit. These modular platforms are built like puzzle pieces to allow for further expansion, interlocking via mechanical gears and magnetic locks for increased stability. Energy demands are carefully considered before building new platforms, but the city's self-sustainable technologies do allow for gradual development and less dependency on surface infrastructure. Marketing campaigns describe the city as a utopia in the sky, elevating the future of mankind. Expansion of the city results in more opportunity for the underclasses, but most are left on waiting lists as it is said that you are more likely to win the lottery than to win a ticket to Aether Nova. Despite international treaties, corporate and military interests are starting to gain a foothold in the city, aiding in its expansion while manipulating the focus of its research. Beyond the atmosphere, overpopulation of satellites and artificial rings of debris continue to litter Earth's orbit, making collisions and signal interference a daily struggle. While it can be argued that Aether Nova and the Moon are becoming more accessible, the same cannot be argued for the Mars colony, as it has grown increasingly independent due to a lack of funding and sustainability challenges. By 2092, fresh water is drying up and natural crops are withering. Droughts wreak havoc on the world's food supply, and rainforests are on the verge of extinction. Glacial thawing has allowed for the growth of cities in the Antarctic for research and tourism, while coastal cities are either evacuated or struggling to survive among rising sea levels. Anticipating these changes, underwater and floating cities have grown more prominent and have secured much of the government funding originally reserved for Aether Nova. With corporations now consolidating much of the city's technology, its usefulness to the rest of society appears to have plateaued. Neural implants are widely used to quickly access information, communicate, manipulate cybernetics and robotics, visualize augmented reality systems, and gain access to virtual worlds in a form of lucid dreaming. English, Spanish, and Mandarin are prevalent, with implants allowing for seamless translation for the influent or those exposed to more obscure languages. While AI has become increasingly integrated into everyday life, it has also become integrated into many corporate and national defense systems. While these technologies hold great potential for improving security and reducing casualties in warfare, many worry about the potential risks of integrating into these systems. Despite a recent history of international cooperation, political tensions and the strain of resource scarcity reignite old conflicts on a global scale. And the truth of what would soon happen is shrouded in conspiracy to this very day. It is commonly believed that a rogue AI managed to infect the majority of the world's nuclear command systems, fulfilling the doctrine of mutual assured destruction. Those killed from the heat and blast waves of the initial explosions are spared a slow death from radiation sickness, lasting anywhere from several days to several months. EMPs and the destruction of power grids send remaining infrastructures back into the dark ages, making it hell on Earth for survivors on the surface. Thanks to its position above the Atlantic, Aether Nova was not in direct line of sight of most nuclear detonations, with the ocean acting as a natural shield against radioactive fallout. However, the city became vulnerable as the disruption of global communications and supply chains put the city on the brink of destruction. The city's governing body of elected UN officials is replaced by a council of surviving nation representatives who quickly enact autocratic emergency powers. Tensions are high as citizens demand access to the surface in search of family and survivors, while others favor restricting access as a logical act of preservation. In a highly controversial move to save energy, the council orders a residential platform evacuated and its population consolidated among the rest of the city as the platform is unlocked and sent crashing down into the ocean 6 miles below. Although the council claims there were no casualties, there are rumors the platform was not fully evacuated before being released. Already slipping away from its utopian ideals and dominated by corporate powers, these events were the catalyst for a spiraling descent into dystopia. Space stations and satellites are either neglected or forced to rely on Aether Nova, as the total collapse of Earth's infrastructure sends shockwaves throughout the Moon and Mars colony. In the year 2114, the city now known as Aether Prime has consolidated control over the world's remaining infrastructure, as well as the Moon and Earth's vicinity. There is a strained relationship with the Mars colony as they have grown distant due to their troubling past. Access to the surface is restricted, but the city has greatly expanded and offers endless distractions to its swelling population. Nominated by a council of elected technocrats, a new chancellor reformed Aether Nova into what was promised to be a sustainable society that would stand the test of time. Fully integrated into the technological systems of the city, citizens have neural implants installed from birth, and as children, their data is used to determine their candidacy for corporate education. All citizens are guaranteed a sustainable income by the government, but there are career opportunities and privileges afforded only to those with higher levels of education. Service industries are dominated by AI and robotics, with the most common careers being in mechanical maintenance or within corporate-sponsored virtual worlds. As corporations control most aspects of life in the city, the careers they offer can be life-changing and are advertised as being directly involved in the development of a sustainable future. It is not uncommon for citizens to sign away portions of their government income to gain certain benefits, signing corporate contracts for anything from loans to medical treatments and even experimental programs. The surveillance state has forced most crime to go underground, as it is nearly impossible to evade a system you are integrated into from birth. Minor infractions can result in financial or social penalties, while major infractions can result in re-education or incarceration at corporate facilities. Self-driving cabs and public transit are the most common forms of transportation at platform level, with aerial vehicles traveling the sky lanes in and around the tallest structures of the city. From neural implants to vehicles, there are few elements within the city that are unable to be accessed and controlled remotely by government and corporate powers. Any attempt to tamper with these devices and their connectivity is seen as a direct threat to the city's stability, and as such carries some of the harshest penalties under the law. Although rarely making headlines, similar penalties are carried out for those who have avoided integration into the city's network and have somehow managed to survive off-grid in the new criminal underworld. Some aspire to one day reach the moon or even travel to Mars. However, many find themselves willingly entranced by the city's seductive allure, content to remain within its grasp. Dissenting voices in both the physical and digital realm are swiftly identified and silenced by corporate forces, making protests, riots, and unauthorized broadcasts of any kind a rare phenomenon. With access to essential goods and the ability to endlessly indulge in both real and synthetic pleasures, the occasional break in the matrix has little effect on the general population.